Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy AJ. I'm here with Rage. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe. It's free agency week, man. It's going crazy. So many deals have been going through, and so many deals have been breaking. It's Sunday night, man. Rage, what's your before we get into this Cam Johnson, bro? What is your take on what free agency moves have you seen today that kind of like affected the East or have any effect on the Nets, if anything? Like, does anything you think have any like, ooh, does this make tanking easier or like what did it surprise you about today, bro?
So we saw that Paul George was leaving the Clippers,
Yeah.
and if he's going to Philly, which
Mm,
that's what they said, that's it. They said Philly was the team that is the front runner right now, and that's where he's probably going to go. So if Paul George goes to Philly, that makes everything a lot more interesting. The Knicks, if they could take out the Knicks and they end up being better than them and they continue giving them problems, hey, we got the Knicks future. Obviously, they'll stay contending for a minute, but they gotta pay people within the next few years. Who knows like how big their window is. And if
yeah.
they're not, winning a championship and we got those picks in upcoming years, that team could take them out. That's the move I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. The Philly move was interesting. The Wizards getting Valanciunas was kind of random as hell. I was like, why did the Wizards go for Match?
I guess that does help our tank though,
That
because if
helps our
anything, that
tank.
just
I
helps
guess,
them win a
hey,
little
if
bit.
you we could out tank you if you guys get Valanciunas, y'all got Kuzma and Poole, so that's a good little that's an EU three. I won't even call it a big three. That's an EU three. And then you got Orlando got a little bit better. Orlando getting KCP
KCP, yeah.
that makes Orlando better. And then, like you said, the Paul George. Hopefully they can be Paul George and Eric Gordon. Hopefully they can get maybe if they can get Paul
And
George
Klay
and Clay.
Thompson can swing east too.
Yeah,
And
if he
like Klay
swings
Thompson
east,
can swing east too. We're still waiting
it
to see
makes it a
about
little
him.
bit harder for Boston. Boston got a little bit of trouble, you know. I mean, we're gonna be at the bottom feeding, but doesn't matter. But
It's
well,
okay.
today,
This is all just going to be interesting for us. We're just losing games at the end of the
yeah,
day.
we're
It's
just
okay if other teams want to win. We're just
we're
losing.
like those spectators are just like ooh, but we're just like we don't care because we're just gonna be tanking anyway. But you know,
We're
we're
just
just like
watching the development of our players. We're not winning games.
yeah, exactly. So, but today before free agency broke, we got the news that the Kings, the Magic, the Pacers, and the Raptors have expressed interest in trading for Cam Johnson per Mike Scotto. Shout out to Who's Hype. So we saw some new teams because we've heard about the Lakers, Cavs, but it looks like Lakers, Cavs is kind of dwindling,
Kings,
but
we heard
now
about the
it's more
Kings too.
yeah, and the Kings. It's Lakers, Kings, Cavs, but now it's looking like it's more Kings, Magic, Pacers, Raptors. Lakers are going through their issues right now. Braun's trying to take a pay cut. They're trying to lure. This Braun's making phone calls to Klay Thompson. Uh, Cavs, we don't know what they're doing, but they're trying to fix their roster, and hopefully Donovan can come back for them. So they're trying to figure things out. So, Cam Johnson, man, it's like I put this out there too about what is Cam Johnson's value, and a lot of people on Nets Twitter were kind of just telling me, well, it looks like Sean Marks. We got a report that Sean Marks' price is very high for Cam Johnson, so it looks like he wants possibly two firsts and some young assets or expiring deals. So shout out to Chris, Danish Nets fan, man. He's been sending me mock trade for like 2 days now, and he sent me this mock trade. I don't know if y'all like it, but it's with the Pacers. Let me put it up. It's basically us trading to the Pacers for Aaron Neesmith and Jarris Walker. He didn't have picks included in this, but let me ask you, bro. How do you feel about this deal right here? And would you like picks? How many picks involved, or would you think that would be an overpay if the Pacers gave us picks in this deal?
So if the Pacers, so from coming from our perspective,
Yeah,
even though we have a high price for Cameron Johnson, I feel a trade like this might even be an overpay for the Indiana Pacers. Cam Johnson, obviously, we know is a solid 3-and-D player. But
yeah,
even after the year that Aaron Neesmith had for them and he shot better and was more consistent from the three,
yeah,
and he was able to play better defensively and proved it in the playoffs, being that guy. So it would be really nice for us. It would be really nice for us if we were to, get Jarris Walker and Aaron Neesmith onto that. I
yeah.
wouldn't even be mad at not getting any
Not
picks.
getting a pick. Mhm.
But if anything, they would probably they would obviously need to match salary.
Yeah,
Naismith can make sense for them, but who knows if they'd wanna give him up. I feel like he could make sense for us for sure.
yeah,
That's a good trade for us. That's a good trade for us. Being able to see Jarris Walker as well, just having another young guy who was just picked in the lottery this last year,
yeah.
to
And
see how he does too.
it says here Neesmith's getting 11 million for 3 years left, and Jarris Walker is 6 million in 3 years. So very cheap contracts. The salaries match. I love this trade. If we get a first, I'll even take a protected. If we can get something out of this, like a 2025 first protect or a 2026, I'll still take it, even if it's protected.
It's a really good trade for us.
It's a
That's
good
a really
trade.
good
And
trade for us.
now, if I'm a Pacers fan, because there's probably gonna be Pacers fans watching this, if Jarris I don't think they have a need to keep Jarris Walker. I know they probably would like to, but I think if they had to choose between Neesmith and Jarris Walker, they would say Neesmith is probably more valuable because you just look at the defense he did this year and the point of attack defense was insane, bro. Like he's strong enough to guard wings on the perimeter. You saw during the playoffs him kind of match up with Jason Tatum, and I know that they got swept, but if you watch that Pacers Celtics series, like a lot of these games were close. The Pacers kind of gave up, what was it, 3 games? Three, maybe 2 or 3 out of the 4
Yeah, yeah,
games they were up,
3
and
games they were
it was
possible. It was
3 games,
possible
right?
games that they could've won. 3
Yeah,
games they could've really won.
yeah, they could have really won, and a part of that was Naismith playing really good defense on Jason Tatum. Like his perimeter defense is really good, and then like you said, you were naming his stats, he was shooting really great from three. So if I'm a Pacers fan, I'm like, damn, I'm giving up Neesmith. But in return, you do get CJ, which is a good wing. I'm not saying he's gonna be like all defense, but he's if he's engaged, I say he'd be a decent defender if he's engaged. He's athletic. Obviously, he's a great shooter. Um, when he's put in a great system, it's
Yeah, it
still a
would be very interesting to see what Cam Johnson looks like on a team like
mhm,
Indiana. We know what type of offense they have. They're lights out. They're a ridiculous type of offense. He
yeah.
could look a lot better with a guy like, Tyrese Halliburton playing
Oh my
point
God,
guard
with
and
Halliburton
that
setting Cam
system.
Johnson up,
That
he
could
would
make
look.
sense. That could
Yeah,
it honestly could make sense for but I like that. I like that trade. If you could get a pick and a
yeah.
trade like that, I it's worth it. It's
Yeah,
worth
let
it.
us
Even
know in
try
the
it for 10
comments, Pacers fans, like, what do you think about this trade? Again, Cam for them because I think they really need a strong wing. I mean, they got when I think about the Pacers, high energy, transition buckets, fast pace. They play so fast and they shoot. Everybody can shoot. Everybody can hit a midi. Everybody can hit a three. So Cam Johnson is just adding to that to your play style of somebody that can spot up and shoot. You got somebody who can drive at times. He's an athletic. Um, and then he can play pretty good defense on your wings. And he's tall. He's 6'8", 6'9". I mean, Neesmith. What's Neesmith? 6'5". Jarris Walker's 6'8", 6'7", but you don't really use Jarris Walker. He's kind of
Yeah,
a
that is one thing about Cam Johnson too, is although, you have Aaron Nesmith being that solid point of attack defender he is, the
mhm,
thing is with Cam Johnson is that you could see an uprise in his offense
yeah,
along with his defense
yeah,
as well. Just him being, bigger and more engaged. Aaron Nesmith is obviously, a solid defender, but being able to have just, being able to be 6'8"
yeah,
and
exactly.
compare that to 6'5" just in this league right now, that's huge. That's
Because,
huge. And if you
bro,
can just
do
put
you remember against that Boston series? Like the Pacers were very small at times. Like sometimes I just feel like Boston was just too much length and tall on the wings point. Like it just looked very because they didn't really have a great rebounding, right? Am I bugging? Like Boston was out rebounding them. It just didn't look like they had this. I know they just brought Obi Toppin back, but adding CJ to that, you get bigger, you get taller, it'll be easier to get boards instead of having, Neimark and Naismith fighting for rebounds against Jason Tatum and Porzingis and everybody, or Jason
yeah,
Tatum
he's
and
at
Jalen
Cam
Brown.
Johnson's at least able to match up with them in terms of, like,
Yeah.
that
S
aspect.
so let us know in the comments if you're a Pacers fan, how do you feel about that trade? I mean, it says the Pacers are interested in Cam Johnson. They obviously in a need for a wing. I think it's a good piece for them to get stronger. Like I said, Jarris Walker is a guy outside looking in. He's not really gonna be in the rotation for you guys.
And if they
He's
have plans on contending, Jarris Walker doesn't really make
Yeah, he doesn't
a
really make
whole lot
sense.
of sense for them.
Yeah, and then the trade for us, again, if we get a pick out of it, that's great. Jarris Walker and Neesmith are on very cheap deals, so it doesn't really affect our salary cap to a ton. They're good young players. Hopefully, they don't make us too good because we're trying to tank. But they're good young players. So when you add in Cooper, Ace, or whoever you get in that lottery in 2025, 2026,
And
it's
then the
just
money
a
you'll have.
yeah, the money you'll have because of the cheap contracts, and then the combination of our already set core that we have of CT, Clax, Clowney, Jason, Jalen Wilson. It's just a great combination of young players that could basically raise our ceiling until we get into that 2027 era and maybe start looking at stars. You would hope that the Nets kind of could develop and have that young core together. If we get a lottery Cooper, Ace Bailey, and then have Jarris and all these guys, you would hope 2027, 2028, we're starting to get into our stride. We're getting to like at least eighth seed in the East, at least an eighth seed. And then you can start looking at the star route or looking at, we talked about this too, bro, about Orlando, how they kind of did it, right? They rebuilt. It took them years to find their pieces, but look at their team now. They have a bunch of cap space. They just signed KCP because they have cap space. They have picks. They're developing core. Paolo
Still
is
$58 million under the luxury tax even
58
after the
million under the luxury tax.
KCP acquisition.
Paolo is basically going to be a star. He was their number one drafted star that they got, and they're going from there. They have a chance to get Paul George because of the cap space. So it's like if we can kind of hit that direction, I think the Nets could have a very, very bright future, exciting future for the long run. But hit that like button. Follow us on Twitter at Nets Kingdom, AJ at Nets Rage. Again, we'll be pushing out a lot more content. Free agency isn't done. We'll probably get some more deals tomorrow. We'll see if CJ or DFS will be on the move. Not a lot of news on Dorian, but we'll keep talking and we'll keep uploading. So appreciate you guys so much. And also netskingdom.net, Cypher and Rage are dropping articles. Appreciate you guys so much. Check those out. We'll be back.